My boyfriend pulled away, was silent for 3 days, even though he specifically promised he'd text me 3 days ago. Now he texted me complaining that I didn't reach out. I acted warm with love. He then gave me an attitude. What should I do, say?
Oh, I like that question.
Will
you keep it up? Yeah. Can I jump into it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So my response, what I'm feeling when I read that is, I did a video called Fierce Self-Love. So with the self-love we've been talking about so far is a little more of the warm, loving self-love, but there also is a self-love that I like my clients and people who watch me to activate as well when they're not receiving the treatment that they deserve to be receiving from their person. And so that's what I'm thinking of self-love as I read this question, because there's a part of me that what gets activated is, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Like, oh, hell no, that's not going to fly. And again, one way we can think about it with relationships is almost you're training people to treat you the way that they are treating you. And I already had an oh, hell no at he promised he would text me and he didn't text me. There's the first hell no. And then he texted you complaining, the second hell no, and then you acted warm, and then he was attitude. So to me, that's just a clear, this doesn't fly for me. And when I speak about fear, so this is more the fierce self-love, and when I speak about it, it's not necessarily, you may or may not express this to your partner, but what's more important is that you know what your own boundaries are, and you are available for a particular type of treatment, and you are not available for another type of treatment. And some people talk about it, you may talk about it this way, like this is high value, you value yourself. A high value woman, I guess, is a kind of a word that some people use. It's like, look, I will not be treated this way. When you know that and you are not available for it, however you get that point across, people typically get in line actually with that, because you are claiming who you are and how you will be treated. So how to specifically deal with this situation, there's a lot of different ways you could deal with it, but I would essentially say, that didn't feel good to me, that didn't work for me, I'm going to take some space. I'll contact you when I'm ready, or something like that. Like just essentially saying that doesn't work for me. And what it seems like we're saying it to the person, but more importantly, you're saying it to yourself. I won't be treated that way. And the more you are unwavering in, I will not be treated this way. This is how I will be treated, and I will not be treated this way. The more you are clear about it and you uphold those boundaries, you will not receive treatment like this. It's when you kind of allow it, and then it's like he's kind of doing this and you're like not really standing up for yourself. That's when treatment like this perpetuates. And so I would have your boundary. You're not trying to get a new response from him. That's the other thing that's tricky about this. You're standing up for yourself first and foremost. This isn't going to fly for me, because I love myself that much. This doesn't work for me. And you uphold that, I promise you, people get in line.
Yep, that is absolutely true. And I could talk about that all day. Actually, let me just give a real quick refresher on one of the communication things that I talk about. So there's three main ways to communicate high value, right? To communicate your value. The first way is through standards, right? Which, there's definitely a place where you could be communicating your standards here if you wanted to. The second one is through boundaries, which sounds something like, I love connecting with you and I love hanging out with you and I love when we're together. However, and then you say whatever your boundary is, and then at the end you ask him if he, will agree to it. And then there's a third way, which is you walk away from the situation. Right? You don't argue. You don't try to get revenge. You don't lose your mind and attack him. You don't, do any of those things that you don't manipulate him. You don't force him. You don't try to make him do something. You can either communicate and then walk away, or you can just walk away. Mm-hmm. And those are really the best ways that, in my opinion, to communicate when you feel like your boundaries have been kind of pushed, or you feel like maybe you're being mistreated or something like that. And so grabbing one of those things, standards are usually a little bit better before the boundary has been broken. So standards, the way that you communicate standards would be things like, you know, I really like it when, right? Like, oh, I love it. You know, I just love it when you know, text me when you say you're going to text me, because it's just so hot, you know, like having such a responsible man in my life. It's just, it makes me feel taken care of. And I love it, you know, and you know, just, or doing, you know, maybe you aren't even doing it totally specific, because that's kind of like really specific about what he's doing. You know, it could just be like, you know, doing what you say that you're going to do. Like, I really love it when you do what you say you're going to do. You know, it's just, it's so hot to me, you know, and just communicating that in that way. Because when you do that, the guy's like, I'm going to do what I say that I'm going to do all the time.
Exactly. You want to like give focus to what you love that they're doing, and what you focus on, you're going to grow. So yeah, keep going. I'm just loving what you're saying.
Yeah. So those are the main three ways. I think we're just going to leave it there for the moment and move on to the next one, though.